But yeah, JJK season 1, I finished it last weekend. The finale will be out on Wednesday this week coming. What a season. Yeah. What a season. Yeah, I gotta say it was surprisingly good. Cause I came from watching, One Piece and like older anime, so I haven't really seen any of the new animation or new style stuff. And man, oh man, they really step up. The music is intense and the fight scenes are insane. And yeah, it's been a wild ride, adrenaline rush for sure.
Yeah, you picked up
you really feel the energy.
A wonderful first foray into, I guess, like more modern, like shonen anime. For you to, it's like, since I don't know, because like One Piece has done a pretty good job, of being consistent and pretty decent quality for like comparatively throughout the years. But JJK was built different. When season 1 first hit, it really shook like a lot of things back in it was like 2020 whenever we got it.
Well, I've been hearing rumblings about Jujutsu Kaisen for probably 3 years now, and when I joined the community, funny enough, it wasn't long before there was talks of the series ending, and I said, "Oh gosh, I need to get into this before it's a footnote." Yeah, and the first season was great. It really set the expectations going into the next season. I have some things that I spoke about it in the finale. That will come out the week, but ultimately, like, it really did everything it needed to do to start a series off. It gave me interest in the characters. I want to know more about each of these guys. I want to know about their past. I understand the world to a degree and their powers. I couldn't ask for much more in a season 1 of a story. Also some highs and low lows.
I think it benefits a lot from being like a contemporary setting. Like it's Japan. It's like we know it's like the real world, but you still have to get introduced to like Jujutsu society, right? But it doesn't have to explain like all of this technology and stuff. It's stuff that we already know as humans, and so like it got to spend a little bit more time on building the characters and the power system, and like, so how do you like curse techniques and like Jujutsu sorcery in general as a power system compared to like incredible. One Piece or something?
Well, see, now it's a hard comparison because I got 25 years of One Piece under my belt, but
yeah,
Jujutsu Kaisen is unique in that sense because I still don't quite understand what makes different people have these certain powers. So like, is it a family thing? Is it a bloodline thing? Are they just taught? But it seems to be kind of specific to each individual character. So as I get more information on that, I'll be able to judge more clearly. But I really like Fushiguro, or should I say Fujitoro?
Oh my goodness. The meme will never unalive. That's
Fujitora?
Yeah, dude.
You said both of them wrong.
Yeah, I did.
No, it's the meme. It's the meme. But,
yeah, I know.
When he first showed up with the dogs, right there, I was in love. I was like, this is the coolest power in the show. He can just summon animals with shadows. Sick.
I agree. He kind of blew me away right out the gate. I was like, this is the coolest. This is the dude. Like, he was initially one of my favorite characters right out the gate before we knew the whole cast that we would eventually meet in season 1. I hadn't really touched the manga at all whenever the anime first dropped, and so season 1 I was going in blind, just like you did, just hearing some rumblings here and there. One of my friends, my roommate at the time, was like really into the manga, and he's like, you gotta check this out. And I checked out the first couple episodes. I absolutely loved Megumi's character, and honestly, the outro also really hooked me. I kept coming back for Lost in Paradise.
I know. I was so taken aback. I was like, this is a fantastic song. Like, I'd listen to this at any time. But speaking on that specifically, I actually started with the movie, so I've seen episode 0. So I come into it already like having a bit of background on Maki, and honestly, for the first 4 or 5 episodes, she was still like my number 1. Maki just Yeah,
Yeah,
like
she's
her story, including the first season and episode 0 or chapter 0. I'm not sure how it's titled now, but yeah, she I can resonate with that. She's gonna prove them all wrong. I love it.
Yeah, I think that there's really compelling character writing, and Maki's a perfect example of some of the ones that we got in season 1. Go ahead, Dex. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say she is a great character, but I personally have a few that stands above her. I don't know about you guys.
At the conclusion of season 1, I won't say I have a number 1, but I have, probably a top 3, let's say.
Like in no particular order.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
It's hard to pick, man.
It is. It's hard to pick.
It is.
And like including episode 0, then like Yuta's involved and stuff, and he's pretty awesome in himself. It's hard pick, but Toto's pretty high on the list. I'm not gonna lie. Nanami's pretty high on the list, and Fushigoro's pretty high on that list.
Mad respect. That's 3 of the people I had in my top 5 for sure. At the end of season 1, I was at the end of season 1, it was a toss up for me between Fushiguro and Nanami. I loved so much of what we got of their characters. Seeing that man hit overtime.
Yes.
Man, that was crazy.
Yes.
Overtime is so good.
Yeah, I just resonate with him so much. He's just like, everything he said in his introduction, I was like, this guy's me, man. Like, this is what I'd be like. Work as shit.
When we got, I think it was like episode 18. I might be wrong. It's been a minute since I've actually watched through most of season 1. I did relive it vicariously through your videos, but whenever we get his flashback on like why he decided to come back to Jujutsu Tech, and like it was like because he wanted to do good things for people because of the lady at the bakery.
Right.
That hit so hard for such a small. It wasn't like multiple episodes like what we got with Junpei, or like it was just like this one little succinct bit, and it hit me so hard because if anybody knows my brand whatsoever or who I am, I love bread. Bread is my thing. So like they were speaking my full language right there.
Yeah, 100%. No, it did hit, man. And that moment where she's like, he just looks like, you look like you got a lot on your shoulders, and she stares back at him. And he makes up the decision there, like, am I gonna do something about this, or am I just gonna keep pretending that, I don't care? Yeah. Ultimately what he was.
And then with all the black flashes and stuff, or the learning of that, like it's such an interesting.
I lost my mind.
Loved it.
Dex was on the reaction with me for that, and I was losing. I was like, is that how many? What? Like, oh man. That was insane. I didn't expect it at all. I was like, okay, he did it. Like, sweet. That's his new move.
Yuji caught up to Nanami's record in one fight.
Yes. Yes.
He's just him like that.
Nanami's a great character too. He's just sitting there talking about it. He's like, yeah, I just got lucky. It's like, man, you were...
A really fun moment I want to reiterate is also how in, I think, episode 1, they compared Yuji to some, is it wrestler? I'm not too well versed in that
UFC
kind of
fighter,
stuff.
Mirko
And you freaked
Crocop.
out about it?
Yes.
Right, yeah.
Man, oh man, I was like, what the hell? I've never seen an anime make a reference to a UFC fighter before. Like, what the hell? I was like,
there's a lot of topical references, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, what? What? He's gonna be a badass then. He must be a badass. Like right as soon as I said the reference, I was like, oh yeah, he's a badass.
Yeah.
So it works.
That like I was saying before, with it being like a contemporary setting, like there's so many things that translate so well. Like they could just reference Jennifer Lawrence and like a UFC fighter, and then like even like the like trash like B movie culture that Yuji's into. It's like it's so funny, like because we all probably know people like that. You know what I mean? Like if we're not them ourselves,
Yeah, I loved it. And then Yuji's interactions with Junpei was some of my favorite moments of the season 1, because I did not expect him to come out and be so emotionally mature, like dealing with Junpei. I expected the normal shonen protagonist who's just a hothead and thinks with his fists, and we kind of got that for a bit, and then he comes out and he just acts like, you know, an actual compassionate person and sees right through what Junpei's dealing with. I was impressed, I gotta say.
Yeah. From like a story beat element, like as like Junpei as a character, but also like understanding that that's a hurdle that Itadori had to unfortunately get over, you know, for him to truly mature as a character, is understanding that you're not just going to be fighting spirits. Yeah, sometimes. And
another huge
that
moment.
That's wild, like a insane moment. And yeah, I remember feeling it in my heart whenever I watched it. I was like, wow, this show hits. This is it. Like that was kind of like my, you know, if to any of the One Piece fans out there, that was kind of like my Arlong Park. Yeah, where like, you know, when
hairs are starting to stand up a bit now thinking about it.
Yeah, when Luffy puts the hat on Nami, like that was kind of that moment for me where he understands like fully what the journey is, you know. Yeah, that's ahead of him. It's
they
crazy.
touch on it a bit at the end, and that the last couple episodes, like in the finale, Yuji mentions to Nobara about it and how he's still kind of struggling with it. So I don't expect him to fully be over that yet either. And we know every time, what's his name? Megami? No. I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on his name. He's a slimy, Mahito, the slippery fucker.
Mahito.
Oof.
Yeah. Every time he's brought up, Yuji just boils inside. So
same.
I expect that
Big
to.
same.
Yeah, I can understand it. Eh? But yeah, I expect that to be an emotional clash when they do get their hands on each other. Yuji's gonna lose it, I think. But yeah, it was
like, I mean, having like the like Sukuna in, you know, held inside of him being Sukuna's vessel, and him having to, you know, hold back his own emotions, as well as like there were times where he was like, I need your help. Yeah, and then Sukuna obviously was just trolling and laughing, you know, like, but yeah, it's really crazy because it sets up such an interesting dynamic. And like, I think season 1 did a really, really good job of explaining kind of like a bit of how high the ceiling goes and what the stakes are, and establishing, you know, the main cast really well. Like you said, the music was great, the animation's great, the art's beautiful. Yeah, and it's a really solid season 1.
It absolutely set the bar, because we got all these badasses, all this crazy stuff happening, and they're still talking about Sakuna being the next level of everything. We've just grazed the surface on what's going to happen.
I had a question.
Wow.
In the chat. Kush Daddy fired a question in the chat about Mahito versus Orochi being the biggest scumbag, or biggest two scumbag. Maybe it's not a question, maybe it's more of a affirmation. But
I didn't like Orochi.
Who's worse?
Odin's story hit me hard, but I blamed Higurashi more than Orochi on all of that. And I think Mahito is fully doing this out of just pure fucking evil.
That's probably one of my favorite moments of season 1. Like there were some hard hitting ones, and there were like, you know, like Nanami talking about bread. And you know, like the conclusion of the whole Junpei mini arc. But one of my absolute favorite moments is when Mahito goes to try to like mess with Yuji's soul, and Sukuna's just like, please know your place. Like, dude, that was so cool.
I know. And the fear on Mahito's face, then I was like, oh, I wish he had to do something to him.
And then then it plays into Nanami getting hit by Mahito's first ever domain expansion that Yuji then...
Man, when Yuji broke into that, I did not understand what was going on. I don't know what I thought domains were before that, but I didn't realize they were like physical barriers around them. I thought they were like going to a different realm. And when Yuji busted in, like just broke in, I was like, what the fuck is Yuji made out of?
Yeah, it's set up really well, and like
Yeah.
for me, I didn't hold on to as much of this knowledge. So whenever season 2 came out, and I'm not gonna say anything specific, but like there's bits of this that I forgot, and it definitely sets up well, and there's gonna be some good payoff on a lot of this, not just in season 2, but also like just in the rest of the whole story.
Pretty excited for it.
Yeah, I think they did a really good job of like, yes, you don't fully understand what, you know, Jujutsu, sorcery, and curse techniques, like the full extent or anything like that, but they've given you a really solid foundation.
Yeah, and like if I see
think
something
it's-
happening, I can understand, okay, that's curse technique, whatever, but you know what I mean? There's mechanics that have been explained, so I'm not confused going into the story if like an attack happens, you know what I mean? I understand the basics.
But speaking of just like curse techniques and Jujutsu sorcery in general, did you have like a favorite individual curse technique? I know you really vibed with like Megumi and the dogs.
Yeah.
But is there something that took over on that?
Yeah, probably. Boogie Woogie.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That was intense, man. You
I
want to
fuck with
talk
that.
about glued to the screen? I think there was like 6 minutes straight of that episode where I didn't say anything. I was just waiting.
Yeah, it's a really like, it's just a basic kind of power, and then you realize how cracked it is, you know.
It's so and then he's playing mind games the whole time too, and you're like, man, Toto, you are ruthless.
That's the thing. He's playing mind games because his technique is so simple that people just assume they know how it works.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And then when he meets Yuji, like that might be close to my favorite. That might be my second favorite moment of the entire season, because my God, if that's not the
Pretty
funniest
peak,
thing
yeah.
I've seen in a long time. And the fact that Yuji then gets into it and he's like starts calling him his brother and stuff, I cracked up. And when he gets
The
with the
whole
crew again, he's
flashback.
like, I don't know what happened to me. I don't know what come over me. It just happened.
Yeah, the whole flashback where he imagines like a lifelong friendship
Yeah.
with him, and like it's so good.
Yeah.
It is so
it's
good.
The scene
fantastic.
when he's rubbing grass onto Toto's face.
and then
It is
afterwards he's
amazing.
like, I'd expect nothing less from my best friend's friends. And he's like, what, Toto, what are you doing here? And starts running away. He's like, my best friend. He's like, we've been together since middle school. He's like, no, we haven't. We just met.
Everybody
Yeah.
needs a Toto in their life. That's a ride or die homie
It's
right
so
there.
sweet. It's so sweet. And the funny thing is, I thought he was a psychopath when I first seen him. I was like, this
He
guy's
kind of
an
is.
arsehole. Like, what a prick.
Yes.
He really is, though.
Yeah, like comes in and smashes the crap out of Megami, and I was like, what the hell? Yeah.
I mean,
I
the man
really-
does his calculations by imagining his favorite idol talking to him. Right?
In
Like, that's
0.001
something about a
seconds.
guy.
All this happened in
There's a-
0.001 seconds.
This is the power of a parasocial relationship.
He's so good.
That's crazy.
He's so good. But yeah, he taught Yuji definitely a thing or two. He stepped Yuji up to a different level. Even Megami
Yeah,
in the
like-
last
I mean, he
couple
was ready to
episodes
let him
was
die.
stressed out. Yeah, no, legit. Yuji did step up himself, but whatever they talked about really hit like deep into Yuji. Like he understood that. And Megami
I
now
like
is
seeing
stressing.
Yeah, I like seeing Yuji's like kind of growth as well. We were talking about Black Flashes before, but we got to really shout out to the Divergent Fist.
But yeah.
Like, that's sick.
Mm,
That's
Yeah.
so cool.
that's a sick move.
Yeah, from episode 1
And-
where he's just trying to clothesline or like Superman punch a cursed spirit energy and pulling up
And
a black
Boy
flash.
can fake out. Yeah, he can fake out without even having to fake out. Like it's so cool. Like I like that kind of like buff for him. And I don't know, I like a lot of like there's a lot of diverse techniques, and some of them aren't like you haven't even seen the half of it at this point, but like it sets up so well like the boundaries for you to kind of bounce in between as you progress through the story. I think
Right.
it's really well done. It reminds me, like curse techniques and jujutsu sorcery in general, it really reminds me a lot of Nen, which is my favorite power system, which we won't talk too much about, but it's actually something that Gege Okutami has said they took inspiration from.
Yeah.
So like they're a fan of Hunter x Hunter, and they kind of loosely based certain principles and things like that of curse techniques off of Nen, and that's so cool to me because Hunter x Hunter is one of my absolute favorites.
Yeah, and
as far as anime manga,
I haven't seen Hunter x Hunter, but I know even Nen as the gold standard of how a power system should be written in a story, just through because liking stories, I usually like yeah, I hear about it a lot, and now nothing's been spoiled on me, but I've heard like if you were to develop a power system for an imaginary world, base it off this, and you can do no wrong. You know what I mean? So that's high praise considering all the other iterations people have tried over the years. People poke holes in everything. It doesn't seem that that's happened yet for Nen.
I also wanted to quickly just say that Kush Daddy again in the chat pointed out is a thing that I remember you, Nag, really loved from one of the, I think, first couple of episodes.
I know exactly what he's talking
is
about.
really bummed out. Yeah, because he doesn't have any curse technique.
He can't do a Bankai.
He wants to do a Kamehameha, Bankai,
I know, I cried.
Rasengan.
I was like, this is so on the nose. Like this, I can get behind the humor in this. This is perfect. Like,
I mean,
sometimes
yes,
it can be goofy,
and
but
humorous, but
great.
It's also homage. It's understanding like know, this intellectual property and this industry at this point are standing on the shoulders of giants, and I love that they nod to that.
Yeah, and that's exactly it too. He knew what he was facing coming into this, and I think he did a great job. I have said it before, and I'll say it again. I give it season 1 a 7 out of 10, and a 10 out of 10 I'm not really giving out very often. 9 out of 10 would have been, I got perfect everything. You know what I'm saying? So 7 out of 10 is, in my opinion, a very, very good rating for your first season of anime.
It's a solid score.
Yeah.
And